I want to get to the Sixers because I think that's an important little tidbit that we've now seen over the last day or so. Got reported yesterday by Michael Scotto that the Sixers have perhaps had some conversations with the San Antonio Spurs about moving up to number 2 in the draft. So he reports, sources, Sixers have engaged with the Spurs about potentially moving up to the number 2 pick. For now, the Sixers have zeroed in on 4 NBA draft prospects with the number 3 pick, including a private workout last week with VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey visiting Philadelphia next week. And there was also reporting earlier this week that for the Edgecombe workout, they brought Tyrese Maxey in, which is interesting. I don't know what to make of it other than the fact that they very clearly view Tyrese Maxey as a long-term foundational piece. They're giving him a max, all that. So they view him important enough to the long-term future of the team that they want to have him potentially meeting with potential draft picks, which is cool. The number 2 pick thing is interesting, though, because if you follow the NBA at all, we got the balloons. If we follow the NBA at all, what we do know is that Cooper Flagg is the consensus number 1 pick. There's no doubt. Dylan Harper, who played at Rutgers, is viewed as the consensus number 2 pick. And then everything gets kind of helter-skelter at number 3. That's the place that no one really knows what to make of anything. So you get guys like Edgecombe, Ace Bailey. There have been others that have been floated, but to me it has to be one of those 2. There has also been talk about the Sixers maybe moving down to 6 or moving down to 7 if they're not totally of the belief that whoever they would get at number 3 won't be there at 5. Maybe they'll look to move down, or they think that the disparity between an Ace Bailey or an Edgecombe to Knipple, for example, if they think that gap isn't that big, maybe they could pick up another asset. I don't know what that looks like. The fact that you got lottery luck and you now have the number 3 pick, to me, you make the pick. And I saw a thing going around today, and I thought about bringing it up on the show, and then I realized I was going to get angry, and I didn't want to get angry. It's Friday. I don't want to get angry on a Friday. I want to be happy on a Friday, right? But I saw a thing going around, and it was from WIP's midday show today. And I saw Joe Giglio say that if it were up to him, if in order to move up from 3 to 2, you had to include a player, and your choices were trade Tyrese Maxey or trade Jared McCain, Giglio said he would trade Maxey. And then I sat back, and after I got done screaming until my eyes started to bleed, and my head popped off my body and ran away, I thought about it, and I was like, is it a crazy point? Is it insane to think that the Sixers would be better off trading Tyrese Maxey with the number 3 pick to go up and get Dylan Harper versus trading Jared McCain and number 3 to move? And I remember that, McCain had a really strong start to the season, really strong. He looked like he could have potentially won the Rookie of the Year this year, which is cool. But trading Tyrese Maxey over McCain? So the idea, I guess, would be to have a backcourt that would include McCain and Harper, and Maxey would go to San Antonio, where they already have Castle and De'Aaron Fox. Why would you do that if you're San Antonio? Why wouldn't you just draft Harper instead? And if the other idea is trade McCain along with number 3, again, why pick up another guard when you could just draft Harper? What? So I thought about it. And again, once I got done screaming, I thought to myself, would you trade Tyrese Maxey over Jared McCain? Is there a logical way or a logical reason to do it? The only reason that you would do it is because you owe Tyrese Maxey a lot of money now. But you've also very clearly stated to the entire league and your team and your fan base that Tyrese Maxey is long-term the face of the franchise. Joel Embiid may still be your best player when he's healthy, which is almost never. He may be your franchise centerpiece, at least in the short term, if he can be healthy, which he never is. But that Tyrese Maxey is this long-term, we're going to build around him and make sure that we're building a team probably that even fits Maxey better than it fits Embiid, because you expect a decade or so out of Maxey, whereas with Embiid, you hope you get 2 to 3 more really, really, really good years, which are also not guaranteed because he can't stay healthy. Oh, and by the way, you still have Paul George, who you claim you're not going to try to trade, who also cannot stay healthy. The idea of trading Maxey to me is insane, unless for some reason you're like, we are so screwed cap-wise because you're tied to two injured guys in Embiid and Paul George, and you think to yourself, the only way for us to dig out of this hole would be to move Maxey's massive contract, but we can't do that. I'm sorry, Tyrese Maxey is the only reason to watch the Sixers. He's the only consistent reason that most people watched the Sixers at all last year. The idea of moving Tyrese Maxey just to move up one spot in the NBA draft makes no sense to me. Now, could we argue that Dylan Harper is a significantly more NBA-ready prospect and ultimately has a higher ceiling than both Edgecombe and Bailey? Yeah, probably. The one thing that flips everything on its head is like, Ace Bailey is certainly viewed as a guy who, like, if everything were to break 100%, right, break the greatest way possible for him in his career, you're talking about a guy who, like, by the end of his career, you would hope is going to be compared to a lesser version of Kevin Durant. The same way that, like, when Brandon Ingram was coming out in the draft, people looked at him, they looked at his frame, they looked at the size, the length, all of it, and they said, Brandon Ingram isn't going to be Kevin Durant, but he's a similar comp. If he can be 75% of what Kevin Durant is, you'll be thrilled, right? Which is why there was that conversation late about the number one versus number two overall pick between Ben Simmons, who wouldn't shoot the ball, Brandon Ingram, who would. There were some people who fell in love with Ingram's size and length again. Could you make a case that if Ace Bailey hits every checkpoint, every milestone along the way, that he could eventually become 60, 70% of Kevin Durant? I don't know. I didn't watch enough Ace Bailey to know. I wouldn't stake my professional reputation on it. But if you truly believe that the gap between Harper and Bailey isn't that big, or that Edgecombe is a more NBA-ready player and is a better fit than Harper would be, then okay. But if, like, it all, to me, again, it comes back to, like, San Antonio doesn't need another guard. So what do you have to offer the Spurs that would actually catch their interest, right? Because you're not going to just, like, trade number 3 and, like, a couple of other picks that are far down the line just to move up. Like, that wouldn't make a lot of sense. They have to want a player. Who's that player that the Sixers have? I don't see anybody that moves the needle enough. It'd probably have to be McCain or a Maxey. Now, if somebody can lobotomize the Spurs, maybe you can convince the Spurs that a really solid all-around wing like Paul George could be worth it. There's no chance.